Well, thank you for having me, Siam.
It is one of those conversations that's very taboo, especially in our community. People don't want to talk about finances and hormones.
That is very true. I can say that that has been my personal experience through my life. In this business space that I'm in, you are not necessarily allowed to show setbacks and deficiencies because, as a subject matter expert, we're expected to always have it all together.
So tell my audience who you are and a little bit about what you do.
Yeah, my name's DA, Adrian. Everybody calls me DA. I have been a real estate agent for over 20 years. I am a property tax agent. I've ran a notary company or family restaurant owner. I'm a mother of three and a wife. So juggling not just work, children, family life, it's a lot. It has been for the last better part of 10 years. My oldest is 11 years old.
So in my introduction, I talked about you struggling with different hormonal situations. I specifically mentioned PMOS, perimenopause, as well as postpartum.
Yes.
And dealing with those along all the list of other things you just named, it's got to be challenging.
It is extremely challenging. And the reason why, for a large part of this time that I've been dealing with this, I was not aware of what I was actually dealing with. The first part of my journey, learning and discovering that I was battling through perimenopause, it came to me just out of the blue. I could not figure out why I was feeling just not myself. I was going to my doctors, I was going to holistic doctors, trying to get answers. Ended up going round and round for about a year and a half to where I finally was able to be diagnosed with perimenopause. Then, fast forward, another added layer to the roller coaster, I found out I had PCOS, now PMOS. And that's when things started to really make sense because PMOS and perimenopause, even though we have been taught that they mimic each other, they are two very different things. And that was one of the moments in my life where I got clarity and was able to start moving forward to address my issues, not just drowning in whatever self-diagnosis I was giving myself at the time.
We're really good at self-diagnosing.
Yes, I am.
Women.
Yes, we will hit WebMD and go down these rabbit holes of scenarios and diagnosis and be totally off because that's what I was doing. I was just looking at the symptoms. Oh, my head hurts. I'm confused. I'm having anxiety and depression, not knowing that I was collectively dealing with symptoms, yes, but there was a diagnosis for all of those many symptoms, which I was dealing with perimenopause and PCOS. Now I'm also dealing with postpartum.
Just had a baby. Congratulations. Congratulations. So as an entrepreneur, you don't have an employer as a safety net.
No.
When your health dips, your income feels it.
Absolutely.
How has that cycle made saving for a home even harder?
It has been extremely difficult because being self-employed, if I don't work and create my income, there is no income. Layering that with the fact that I was dealing with PCOS and PMOS and perimenopause, there would be days where I literally not just could not feel like going to work, just physically could not gather myself to go to work. And I would notice 2 weeks, 3 weeks have passed where I'm either working much less or not being my best self in my work, things not closing, or just not giving it my all. When you look up in my industry, it takes 2 months on some ends to close. If I'm not giving my best self, I don't close, I don't eat. And I wasn't able to provide the lifestyle I was used to providing to my family. That also affected my ability to save money to continue on my goal towards home ownership. One story I'll share with you quickly. We were very close to buying a home. I found out that I was pregnant. Okay. So we already put down $10,000 earnest money to buy the home. My body, I could not work. The pregnancy was so challenging to where I stopped working for about 2.5 months into my pregnancy, and then didn't work the remainder of it. And that has affected my finances tremendously because I couldn't. My mental capacity was just not there. And I didn't want to show up not my best self for my clients. So I decided to sit back. And then my doctor also solidified that, said, you cannot go to work. And that further exacerbated the issue of my finances being directly impacted by not just being pregnant, but dealing with the symptoms. Because when you're still pregnant, going through perimenopause, you're still in it. You're just in it pregnant.
Okay.
And I didn't learn that until after my doctor told me that. It doesn't go away. So the hormonal imbalances from being in perimenopause, the hormonal imbalances from being pregnant, all of that was weighing on me. And my ability to make sound decisions and financial decisions being made as well were greatly impacted.
For someone that's watching this show right now, and you're saying that being pregnant made you not be able to get up, or it was hormonal, what do you say to debunk those questions? Because that's your reality. That was what was going on with you. You were not able to work due to hormonal imbalances, and some of it way from postpartum,
yes,
or prepartum and perimenopause.
Yeah. What I would say to anyone is that those are real issues. When you're fighting anxiety and depression or just confusion or lack of motivation, those are real issues and they should be handled with sensitivity and understanding. Because I'm someone in a service industry, if I cannot show up and be my best self and also be able to work on someone else's behalf, I felt it was my responsibility to say no.
But what about the people that think it was just you and your isolated thing? Well, because a lot of women I speak to, don't believe that there's a financial impact to peri and postmenopause. They think that when you start slowing down, it has something to do with aging, laziness, or just lack of desire. So how do you come back on that?
Well, anyone who knows me knows that I am far from lazy.
You named about 15 jobs. I thought you was Jamaican over here.
And I have been doing that for over 20 years. When it comes to that, I would debunk that by stating, when our hormones are directly tied to our mental capacity.
Okay.
When you have a hormonal drop or dip or just depletion, your thinking, your motivation, your desires are all impacted. You just do not physically feel the ability to get up.
But how does that impact your finances though? Because one has nothing to do with the other, so people say.
Well, it does, because if I literally cannot show up, if I cannot will myself to get dressed, to even show up, and then to show up soundly, it directly affects my income, and I would say other women's, because we cannot do the job. Just like, and I'm a self-employed individual, so there is no FMLA or paid time off. If I don't show up, I do not transact and I don't eat. So to me, that is the direct correlation between hormonal imbalances and being able to function and my finances, because I don't have that security net. I don't have to pay time off, like I mentioned, and I don't have the ability to say, I'm going to use these hours while I decide to sit home and recover.
Mm-hmm. So what do you want women who are in the middle of their own hormonal chaos to understand about not giving up on their dream for home ownership? Because you haven't given up.
No, not at all.
It's delayed, not denied.
Yeah.
And so for someone who is on that journey again, prayerfully we'll get you back up under contract here any moment.
Sure.
What do you have to say to them? Because people don't connect home ownership to menopause. They think that one has nothing to do with the other one. And I've debunked that many times, because home ownership has actually been the thing that I've been able to tap into to help me navigate my finances during this crucial time. For somebody who's not a homeowner, that's fighting to become a homeowner, what would you say to them?
I would say, for one, that is a topic that, like you say, we can talk about for hours on end. But let me summarize it. The ability to attain home ownership helps open the doors to financial stability. For someone who works in this space, I understand how crucial it is to be able to not only ascertain home ownership, but the mechanisms that that you get access to. If I was a homeowner right now and I needed to have time off, I could use my home as a vehicle to allow me to stay home and rest and heal. People are so used to trading their dollars for a space, which is rent. They don't understand that when you own a home, you can use your equity and such to pay for yourself to stay home. Or there's tools like you can type in with Siam that can help you to access those funds that are in your asset, your home, so that you can relax and be okay. But what I would say to correct the correlation or connect the dots between menopause and home ownership is, when you're going through a hormonal chaotic state like I am, the one thing that the one thing that I want to make sure that I acquire through my lifetime is not just one home, but many, because of the tools that it allows us to have. Many women do not actually have access to other tools besides income to create a stable lifestyle for themselves. And those are the one of the things that I advocate as homeownership strongly, especially for women, because we are the ones that take on the burden of the children, the burden of having to stay home and raise them, the burden of having to go through menopause and push through, as they say, push through the mental dysfunction that we go through when we're going through things like perimenopause and menopause. And that's why I believe it's such a strong, I believe so strongly that if I would just be able to just touch that, a lot of my situation would be less stressful and much different.
Well, I really appreciate you taking this time to speak with me, taking away from the baby, giving yourself a little out.
I needed it.
And chatting with me and the audience. And I thank you.
Thank you, Sam.
What information can you give them and tell us about you? Because you named a lot of things that you do.
Well, again, my name's Deadrian. You can reach me on all the socials at Deadrian. At TikTok at Deadrian, Instagram at Deadrian. I am a 20-year realtor, been in property tax space for over 15 years. I help people keep their high property taxes in check. And I love to be a help for your audience if they need it.
All right, you heard it here. The Menopause Catalyst, money, mortgages, and menopause. Take care.
Thanks, Sam. So, did I hit on the topics that I talked about on the couch? Because you told me you didn't want to go too deep in